The storm raged over the moors, howling like a hungry beast as Soren sprinted through the mud. His breath ragged, his heart hammering in his chest. Behind him, torchlights flickered in pursuit, soldiers of Lord Vaemar, their voices rising over the storm. He had stolen from the wrong man, and now he would pay the price. Soren had made a name for himself as a rogue and smuggler, slipping through city gates unseen, vanishing into the night with purses heavy and pursuers fooled. But this time he had gone too far. The Lord's vault had been more heavily guarded than he had expected, and while he had made it out with a purse of stolen coin, a single misstep had led to his capture. He had fought his way free, steel clashing in the moonlit courtyard, but not before a blade had found his side. The wound burned as he ran, his strength slipping away with every staggering step. His horse had been cut down, leaving him alone in the darkened wilderness, with no path forward but into the endless storm. Lightning flashed, illuminating the twisted roots and gnarled trees ahead. His boots slipped on the wet grass, and before he could steady himself, a blade struck from behind. He twisted, parrying weakly, but his strength was failing. A knight in blackened armor loomed over him, a sword raised high for the killing blow. Then came the whisper of wings. Before the strike could land, a sudden gust of wind howled through the clearing, scattering the rain like shattered glass. The knight hesitated, his torch flickering, and in that brief moment Soren stumbled back, falling to his knees beneath an ancient oak. From the shadows stepped a woman cloaked in midnight feathers, her eyes gleaming like polished obsidian. The knight recoiled as though struck by an unseen force. His torch snuffed out in an instant. When the flames returned, he was gone, vanished into the night as if he had never been. Soren clutched his wound, his breath shallow. The woman did not speak at first, merely watching him, as though weighing his soul in silent judgment. Then, in a voice as soft as dusk, she said, "Do you wish to live, Soren of Vaemar?" He could barely form the words, but the will to survive burned strong within him. He gasped, "Yes, anything." The woman crouched beside him, extending a hand unnaturally pale. "Then you shall serve me. You will walk the roads that others fear, carrying my messages between the living and the dead. And in return, your life shall be mine to preserve, or to take." Soren had no choice. He pressed his trembling hand into hers. At once, the pain in his body melted away, replaced by a terrible cold. He gasped as dark feathers erupted from his arms, vanishing into his skin. His heartbeat slowed, his breath steadied. He was alive but forever changed. From that day, he was the Raven Queen's harbinger. His path led him across the land, from castle halls to paupers' graves, delivering letters written in ink no mortal hand could read. Some bore warnings of untimely deaths, others reunited long-lost lovers beyond the veil. Many wept at his arrival, knowing their fates were sealed. But as the years passed, doubt gnawed at him. Was he merely a messenger, or a servant of doom? Could he ever be free? One night, he confronted his mistress beneath the same gnarled oak where he had first met her. "I have done your bidding," he said. "Tell me, when does my debt end?" The Raven Queen only smiled. "When the last name is written, and that name shall be your own." Soren's blood ran cold. He looked at the parchment in his hand. Fresh ink now marked the final name. His own. The wind howled. The raven wings beat in the night. And Soren's whisper joined them, carried away into the darkness. Some say his ghost still lingers, a lone figure wandering the roads, a parchment always in his grasp. And when the ravens gather at your window, listen well, for they may be calling your name next.